Hey everyone, welcome to Sidetrack Adventures. This is Steve. Right now I'm in Baker, California, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. There's a place that's been bothering me for a while, and we're going to try to head out there and check it out. Now normally when I go out to a place, I read up on it as much as possible, try to do as much research as possible before going out there, but I hardly know anything about this place. So I was looking through Google Maps, and east of Death Valley, I came across a place called Evelyn, California. And I've never heard of Evelyn before, so I zoomed in on it to kind of take a closer look to see what's out there. And as I was zooming in, I noticed there really wasn't anything there. Just this weird circle in the road. And I was like, what the heck is this thing for? And looking around, there just wasn't anything. I did a Google search, and nothing really pops up on Google either. So there's really only one way to find out what the heck is Evelyn, California, and that's to get out there and look at it on the ground. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Now, we're in Baker right now, and normally we would just jump on the 127 and head north from here. But unfortunately, as of the filming of this video, the 127 is closed, as a few months ago it was destroyed by flash floods. So we're going to have to take the long way to get to Evelyn today. So let's jump in the car, and hopefully in about 3 hours, we'll be in Evelyn, California. Before we leave Baker, let's take a quick look at the town's most famous landmark, the world's tallest thermometer. There used to be a restaurant in Baker called Bun Boy, and the owner of the restaurant, a man named Willis Heron, had the thermometer built in 1991 to help promote his business. It cost him $700,000 to build this. The thermometer is 134 feet tall and goes up to 134 degrees in honor of the 134 degree record temperature set in Death Valley in 1913. Since it gets pretty hot out here, it takes a lot of fans to keep this thing cool. Shortly after the thermometer was constructed, there were high winds in the area and it snapped in half. It was rebuilt, and 2 years later, it was damaged by high winds again. Concrete was poured into the steel core to reinforce it, and now it can supposedly withstand 150 mile-per-hour winds. The business and thermometer were sold a few times over the years, and because of the high cost of keeping it in operation, the thermometer was turned off in 2012. In 2014, the family of Willis Heron regained ownership of it, renovated it, and turned the thermometer back on. The Bun Boy restaurant is now long gone, but this sign for it could still be found next to the world's tallest thermometer on the wall of the gift shop. I think we've spent enough time in Baker looking at this thermometer now. We have a mysterious circle to get to. Getting to Evelyn wouldn't be too long of a drive if Highway 127 was open. But because it's closed, we're going to be taking the more scenic route. So we've made it to Evelyn, California, and just taking a quick look around, this is probably going to end up being a very short video, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy for going all the way out of my way to get out here, but we've made it. And now that we're here, we might as well take a look around the Majestic, Evelyn, California. This place is pretty easy to miss from the highway, but the lone tree at the entrance to the circle kind of reminds me of the last tree of Baghdad on Route 66. I guess we'll take a walk around the circle and see if we're missing something here. I was able to find out a little about Evelyn before we came out here. So Evelyn was named in 1907 for Evelyn Kate Smith, the second wife of Francis Marion Smith, of the Pacific Coast Borax Company. Francis Smith was looking for a way to help move his borax, so he started the Tonopah and Tidewater Railroad, which ran from Ludlow, California to Beatty, Nevada. And I don't know what this thing sticking out of the ground in front of us is, but we'll take a closer look. Now, I don't think Evelyn was a stop on the railroad, but more likely a railroad siding or where a section crew would have lived. The railroad had crews stationed every 20 miles or so in case any work was needed on the railroad. And I actually have no idea what this is. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a scientific monitor of some sort in there. But this looks to be the only structure here at Evelyn, California right now. And looking over at the center of the circle, it doesn't look like anything was ever here. I don't see any foundation or any signs anything was ever built here. If there was something here, they did a good job of cleaning it up. So this kind of adds to the mystery of the circle, but there are yellow lines painted on the road here, as if there would have been enough traffic on this circle to need to designate lanes. Kind of getting back to the railroad for a minute, the Pacific Coast Borax Company moved south in the 1920s, and the railroad was completely abandoned in 1940. And then during World War II, the tracks were removed so they could be repurposed for the war effort. Yellow lines on the road started getting widespread use in the 1950s and became standard in the 1960s. So whatever this circle was for, it isn't related to the railroad. I think that lone mountain in front of us looks pretty cool, but here's a look back at the center of the circle, and as you can see, nothing's there. There's also this dirt road coming off the western end of the circle, and I wasn't even sure this was a road when I looked at it on Google Maps. And eventually it kind of just disappears in a wash. But now that I'm out here and on it, this actually looks like it's decently graded and in pretty good condition. Unfortunately, I don't have any service out here, so I can't double check it on the map. But I'll try to take a look at this with the drone before we leave to see if we could see where it goes. California State Route 127, which largely follows the same path as the railroad, was designated in 1933. Evelyn does show up on some of the early road maps, but by the 1970s, it pretty much disappeared from the maps. And speaking of State Route 127, I think I've seen more planes fly overhead than I've seen cars pass by on the road since we've been out here. But let's go ahead and go out into the middle and take a closer look and see if there's any evidence if anything was ever here. So far, I have to say I'm actually pleasantly surprised at the lack of trash out here. I mean, I haven't seen anything so far, not even a lone beer can. I'll go up to the high ground here to get a better look around. This circle makes no sense at all. I mean, I can honestly say coming out here hasn't answered any of my questions about it. I mean, somebody built this for a reason. It's been maintained, but there's nothing out here. There's no infrastructure. Even the railroad tracks haven't been here for over 80 years. But yet, for some reason, this circle is here. The nearest town is nearly 15 miles away, so the Evelyn Circle is truly in the middle of nowhere. If I had to make a guess as to what this was for, I'd say maybe it was built to load stuff from a nearby mine. But why would such a large circle with traffic lanes be needed for that? I don't know, there's probably a reasonable explanation, but who knows? Maybe it was used by the CIA or by aliens when they meet up with Bigfoot. When I was flying the drone around, I did notice a few things slightly to the north of the circle such as this pile of metal here. Here's a small section of concrete, so it looks like there was something north of the circle at one point, but I'm not sure what. There's not enough concrete here to say for sure that there was a foundation. This pipe is firmly in the ground. I'm not 100% sure, but there could have been a gas pump here at one point. So it kind of looks like there may have been a service station along the highway, but I think we're too far from the circle for it to have anything to do with that. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's take a drive around the mysterious Evelyn, California circle. So I guess that's our look at Evelyn, California. If you happen to know, or even just have a wild guess as to what this circle was for, please let us know in the comments. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.